What's up everyone, Adam from FWCI Collector's Edition here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Marvel Legends Maximum Thor. Is it Maximum? Is it even Thor? We will answer these questions. First of all, if you want to support the channel further, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment, hit the like button, click my other videos, all that stuff all helps. But let's talk about Maximum Thor. First of all, this is the box. It's very, very plain. Nice picture on the back of the figure and the accessories, but overall, the Maximum series packaging is starting to lose me a little bit. So here's the figure. Now, for those that want backstory on what version of Thor this is and why he looks the way he does, I can't provide that. I just like figures, and I'm here to look at it as an action figure, and it's got some goods and it's got some bads. So let's start with the articulation, I guess. So first of all, he's all pinless, double jointed as to be expected. He's got toe articulation as well, which I'm not always a fan of, but the foot doesn't bend forward. I'm a big fan of that. I like toe articulation, but I hate when it would bend down even further. This one actually locks at a flat point, so that is progress. Now he does have butterfly joints in there. There's not a great deal of movement, but they are certainly present. Lots of movement in the mid-torso, obviously that's where most of it comes, and in the waist as well. So I like the articulation of the midsection of this one. Now the neck is on its own joint, as is the head, so you've got multiple options with that. The articulation wise, I think it's okay. It could really do with a boot cut or something though, because we've got a thigh cut there, but it's a very big, long-legged figure, and I just feel like a boot cut on this would have really helped, So I'll quickly go over the paint app on this because there's not a great deal of it. I like the metallics that they've used. I like the gold on the belt buckle. I like the gold trim that they've got on there as well. The brown kind of breaks everything up a little bit. I think it's a really useful and necessary kind of shade for this particular figure. And there's kind of a matte steelish, I don't know, is this supposed to be the same effect here? I don't know why there's this circle here that matches where those other circles are on the upper body. I imagine if it's supposed to look identical, they would look identical, but let me know in the comments what's going on with the little stains on his loincloth. And all his hands have the regular hinges except for the Mjolnir holding hands that have the sword gun articulation, which is appreciated. Yeah, the other big appeal of this is the soft goods cape. I thought it might be a little bit redder. It's quite a dark sort of like almost maroon color in a way. It's just like a very deep red. I think it actually works. I don't think it needed to be as bright as, say, the Lady Deadpool figure kind of thing. So I think they picked well. The wiring in it all seems to be good. It is connected to the chest there as well. So I'm not sure if that pops out, and I'm not going to try. So these are the accessories that we get with this figure. Well, with the exception of one, which I'm sure you know what that is, and we will get to that one at the end. But he comes with two lightning effects. I don't really like these. They're way too dark. They're like a dark blue, which doesn't really pop. There are some parts of it that look like it's got a bit of white paint app to it, but nowhere near enough. And I'm kind of over these designs as well. I think they're kind of played out. I think this was probably the perfect figure to introduce a new lightning effect to the Marvel Legends line, so pretty disappointed with these effect pieces here. The hands that he comes with the open hands. He does come with a set of fisted hands as well. He's got the Mjolnir holding hands with the sword hinge, and he's got another Mjolnir with no hinge on the hand at all, actually, but it's the fist with Mjolnir connected. You can actually twist the Mjolnir around, so there is a little bit... Oh, hang on, does this come out? Oh, okay, so that actually comes out as well. I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, but if you want to do that, you can. I don't really like that. I would have rather there had been some kind of like sculpted like strap of Mjolnir. I wanted this to look more like he was being pulled off by his hammer. This just looks like it's coming out of his fist. He also comes with just a regular Mjolnir that does have the leather strap at the end, which does fit in with the Mjolnir holding hand, which I do appreciate. And we do have just the Mjolnir handle, which plugs in this little tiny thing on the back of his cape, so that it looks like he's actually carrying his Mjolnir, but it is just an illusion. He is not carrying the Mjolnir, it's just for show. So I kind of like that. That's a nice little innovative thing we've got. And we've got this accessory here, which is some sort of elk horn. I'm sure I'm gonna butcher this completely. A bit of an elk horn, but one of these open hands here, you see it's kind of 2 fingers by 2 fingers. It fits in there pretty perfectly. So again, nice to see that they've included a hand that's specific for that accessory. It doesn't have a great deal of meaning to me personally, but I'm sure there's a Norse action figure collector out there somewhere that is going, good lord, it's got the horn. But let's talk about these heads, because they suck. All of them. I don't like any of these ugly bastards. Chris Hemsworth is rolling in his grave just looking at these here. I don't like the big square jaw. I don't like the blue eyes with the really dark eyebrows. The lips seem to be a little bit too dark. And then when you pair it up with the hair that comes in this figure, it just, I just don't like it. The hair looks way too feminine. Like, it looks far too stylized. It looks like it's his summer do. I really don't like the hair on this figure at all. And from the moment that I saw this Maximum series Thor, that's been my feeling on it, was I didn't like any of these head sculpts. Now that I've got it in hand, I still don't like any of these head sculpts, but I like the technology of having it plug in. I will say though, it gets a little bit tricky. So you can see where the helmet sits there. Once you put it on, it doesn't really stay in the same spot, and the helmet starts to come down a little bit more. If you then want to articulate the head up a little bit, it gets like even worse. So that stayed not too bad, but earlier it was like getting all the way down almost over his eyes. So yeah, the hair at the back, that is probably going to be the biggest problem of this figure, is just that hair and trying to articulate the head up, because it just comes off as well. It's not quite, yeah, see, when you put it back on, it doesn't fit on the right way. So I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I like the technology, I like the attempt, but this is easily one of the most hideous looking Thor faces and hairstyles I think I've ever personally seen in my life. So this is the Thor that I've had in my collection up until now. This came with the Destroyer armor in the 2-pack, and I thought this figure was going to be smaller than it was. I didn't realize Thor was such a enormous, gigantic dude. I mean, that might be an obvious thing. I might sound like a bit of an idiot for saying that, but I thought he'd scale more with like humans, and he does not. But this is the head from that Thor figure. I think it looks way better. I'm not the biggest fan of this head either. I really need to heat it up and try and get those wingdings on the top of his helmet to sit better. But honestly, I prefer this head over all 3 that we got with the Maximum Edition, and it's not even close. Once you put this one on, I feel like the metal difference is a little bit too much with the face shield as well. But the other one with the exposed eyes, I think, is actually a pretty good head sculpt for Thor. I don't know, what is the ultimate Thor head sculpt? Because I'm really not digging any of these at all, but the body and everything else with this figure here is top shelf. So for those wondering what stand I'm using in all of these photographs, it's this one here. It's the starting lineup NBA stand. It is really, really heavy duty, and it does a great job of supporting very large Marvel Legends figures, all the way up to the Carnage MCU figure, that massive one. It can suspend that figure without any real struggles at all. So I love those flight stands, and they're perfect for this Thor. He'll probably end up living on a flight stand, I would say. And last but not least, we've got Throg, which is Thor, if he's a frog, I think. I don't know the full backstory of Throg, but he's got a little tiny Mjolnir, he's got his own little cape, and he's got a matching outfit. I know we saw him in the Loki TV show very briefly. I believe he was in a jar or something like that. I like that character, but I would like them to have done a little bit more on this here. It's, oh, hang on a second. Hang on, everyone. His head moves. There's 1 point of articulation on this. There is the tiniest bit of movement in the head. Okay, you can angle his head like that way so he's looking up. I mean, that's not enough for me. I would like there to have been a swappable head for him, maybe a swappable arm with a different Mjolnir that was all getting, like, hyped up with lightning or something like that. And I wouldn't have minded if they gave us two different capes, one that is fluttery and one that is sitting down. And I think you could have actually really got some good value out of this little design that they've got there. But again, for Maximum Edition, I expected more, but that seems to be the norm with this Maximum Edition series. The Maximum Hulk was, again, such a bizarre choice. 3 of the worst Hulk head sculpts I think I've ever seen in my life. The Deadpool one was okay, but I felt like he came with so many redundant weapons, like so many two-handed, like big machine gun things. It's almost like Marvel Legends just went to the G.I. Joe people and said, yeah, just give us a bunch of artillery for Deadpool. So I wasn't really a fan that that's what made the Maximum Deadpool Maximum was more guns. I would have liked more heads and hands and stuff like that. And I think probably the Spider-Man one was probably the best of the lot. And like, it came with some unique web effects. It had more articulation than we've seen on any Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure ever before. It introduced the web shield and things like that as well. So personally, I think the Maximum Spider-Man is the best of all the Maximum series. Then I'd probably go with Thor, then Deadpool, and then Hulk with his, what was it, like a shave? How does the Hulk get his hair cut? Isn't his skin impenetrable? Wouldn't his hair be, like, pretty heavy duty as well? I imagine it'd be like the Superman movie where Superman's hair is suspending a fucking anvil or something. I don't know how I got onto this tangent, but let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the Maximum Edition Thor. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because I will be reviewing more Marvel Legends in the future. And as always, everyone, be well, stay safe, look after your figs, ta-ta, and farewell.